do 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 do. I think that's the French anthem. In any case, this is episode 19 of the Old Guys Gentlemen Flippers, and today what I'm going to be covering or reviewing are a couple of Les Opinels. I never took French, so I'm probably really crappy at it. Anyhow, it's the number 6 Carbone, and the number 8. I first got this, as I said, in I think my first video. And oh, by the way, I've sharpened this so much that the fingernail thing has gone below the wood, because I've had this for a few years now, and I basically have over sharpened it. So what you do is you tap it, and the French even have a name for it. I've been practicing it. It's coup de Savoya. Coup de Savoya. Coup de Savoya? Something like that. Anyhow, I got this because I noticed some fellow Irish bagpipers using this knife a lot to work on the reeds of their bagpipes. You just whittle it a little bit off the reeds, and they're perfect for that. And they sit really light in the pocket. I mean, this thing is only 1.2 ounces. This one is 1.6 ounces, so this would be the lightest knife that I've got. It's cheap. In fact, at a recent Christmas get-together, I gave one of these to my son-in-law, actually one of these. I told him that it was the best, cheapest knife you can get. They looked at me bewilderedly. I thought that was a great compliment. I think they've been making the same style with a special patented locking system since about 1890. Blade on the number 6 is 2 14/16 inches long. When it's open, it's 6.5 inches. It uses X90 steel, and the details on that, I wanted to know what the hardness rating was, and I couldn't find information on it anywhere. This is not a flipper, so you might ask why it's in here, because it is kind of a gentleman's knife, not a flipper. There's no way to flip this. But it's a real safe knife. It sits at the bottom of the pocket. There's no pocket clip or anything like that. Yeah, check out the action. Boom, boom. And then it locks in place. Some other things about it. It's really easy to sharpen, although the width is getting, I don't know if that's width or height, this dimension. But it's getting small enough now that it's becoming a challenge for the KME, although I do have the smaller jaws, which helps. It's an easy steel to sharpen, which it's probably the easiest steel of all the ones I have. Probably says it won't hold the edge as well as others. I got the carbon knives because at the time I didn't know that much about knives, and I assumed stainless steel would not hold an edge. And actually, from what I can see, is some of the best steels in knives these days are stainless steels. There's no recurve in terms of sharpening. That makes it easier as well. Some stuff that I don't particularly like are that it's really hard to pull apart. When I got this thing, and actually I got this one in Portland, Oregon. I got this one in Paris, just because I had to get one in Paris, and it was. In fact, why don't we go ahead and open that one up? Sorry for the cough. It was really hard to open. And now it's pretty easy to do. Wow, it's almost like a mirror finish on there. So I figured, well, I just would pry this apart. Well, that's hecka hard, as my younger daughters might have said. And YouTube came to the rescue, and so I ended up getting one of these retaining ring pliers. And what you do is you stick that between the two, and then squeeze, and then you can pull that collar off. Once the collar is off, there's a shaft of steel. So there's no bearings, no washers. This is up against the wood. So that's one of the downsides. This is beech wood, and if it gets wet, it swells, and then it becomes really hard to deploy. But anyhow, you pull that apart, and then there's like a steel shaft, and it's been burnished or pinned or something to hold it in there. So what I found is I actually had to file that down before I could push it out, and then I was left with a knife without a pin because I couldn't reuse that pin. But I took a nail that was about the same size, and I filed and sanded it down till it was the right diameter, put it in there, peened. I peened the sides, and it's a fine knife right now. It's not very grippy. Oh, I didn't give you the dimensions in this thing. Hold on, let's put it out here. I don't know why, but I seem a little disjointed this morning. Okay, so this is 1.6 ounces. The blade is 3 1/4 inches long. Overall, it's 7.5 inches. It's not that grippy. I don't think you want to go out and do a ton of work on this thing. The knife is kind of a favorite for people to pimp up, and so there's probably a bunch of stuff you could do, but there's no jimping. I guess the wood's okay. It's like just a little bit more slippery than a bare G10 or something like that, or bare titanium. But I like it. I was considering selling this one because I never use it, now that I have a collection of other knives. But God, it wouldn't be worth the postage to sell it on eBay or anything like that. But this is still a trusted knife, and it's really light, and it'll open packages and cut cardboard. I wouldn't do a lot of heavy cardboard cutting with it. It'll cut sausage and cheese and bread. So for that kind, and it'll shave off what you need to have shaved off on a uilleann bagpipe reed. So, and I also kind of like the fact that it's just a classic knife. Been around since 1890, and it's a great design, and they've kept it, and it's really simple. Well, here's one problem: when you sharpen this long enough, because you can't really, it's hard to get the sharpener down here unless I take this out. That's an artifact. In fact, you can see how far the edge I pulled it down, because that was flush with the edge. I should probably knock that off. So I guess that's it. I hope you got some value out of this review. I would say definitely have one of these in your collection, because it's a classic, and it's cheap, and it's light, and it's sharp. It's a good knife.